High School in historic Wellsburg, West Virginia. WTRF proudly presents Ohio Valley Tonight with Nathan Marshall. Tonight's guest, Wayne Wise.
Welcome to another edition of Ohio Valley Tonight with Nathan Marshall. And tonight we are joined by comic book guru Wayne Wise. Thank you, Wayne, for coming in.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
And he's from Phantom of the Attic in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I'm just curious what you do at Phantom of the Attic yourself and what Phantom of the Attic is, because to me right now it sounds like some kind of a 1980s vacuum cleaner.
Phantom of the Attic is a comic book and game store. We have two locations in the Oakland section of Pittsburgh. We're between University of Pittsburgh campus and the Carnegie Mellon campus. We sell comics. We've been Eisner-nominated store. The Eisner is essentially the Oscars in the comics industry. We were nominated in 2009 as best store. We didn't win, but hey, I got to sit through a pretty amazing ceremony. And yeah, the nomination was good.
And that's a nice thing. Yeah, it's definitely a community.
And that's one of the things. It's a place, we sell product, obviously. It's a business. We sell comics, but we all see it as it's a community. This is comics are a hobby. It's a lifestyle. People get into it. And it's not a shoe store. You don't just come in and buy your stuff and go. You come in and you want to talk about what Hawkeye's doing this month, or whatever. So we facilitate that. It's a place where people not only buy their merchandise and talk about their hobby, but the number of people who write and draw who get into this business on various levels make their way through the store. So it's a networking place for a lot of that as well. It's a
holy mecca of nerdom. That's my kind of place.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, let me just read this for those people at home who think you're just some kind of a dumb comic book guy, all right? Because
I'm kind of a dumb comic book guy, but it's okay.
No, other than that, you've received a master's degree in clinical psychology. You've taught all sorts of collegiate level courses. You're the resident scholar at Pittsburgh Toonseum, which is one of only 3 museums in all of the United States dedicated to the cartoon arts. So you're the psychology expert here. I'm wondering, why do people look at comic book and comic strips as a lower form of art or a lower form of writing?
It's a good question. I don't know that I have a good answer. I think some of it is just, it's been seen that way for so long. That just becomes the public perception of it. But I mean, really, I think telling stories with pictures go back to cave paintings. I think it's the earliest way of telling stories that's not verbal. But somewhere in the late 40s, early 50s, there was a movement, a psychiatrist by the name of Frederick Wortham, who worked with juvenile delinquents, really went on a tear against comics. He fully believed that comics were the sole reason for juvenile delinquency, that if the comics didn't exist, no kid would ever be bad. And his proof of that is that 90% of all juvenile delinquent kids that he dealt with read comics. In 1950, 90% of every child you ever talked to was reading comics. So, his stuff was skewed. But he put out a book called Seduction of the Innocent, and it was in Women's Home Journal and all these other magazines, and it stirred up tremendous controversy and fear. There were Senate subcommittee hearings about the bad effect of comics on children, and I think that cemented in people's minds that this is just for kids. But the end result of it is they instituted what's called the Comics Code Authority, which limited the content. They limited how much violence you could show, or sexuality, or type of language. You couldn't show anything dealing with drugs whatsoever. Monsters.
Archie Comics came out.
Archie Comics. It's currently the longest running comic, uninterrupted comics.
I think Archie's they just keep running the same comic strip over, putting new clothes on them. That's all they do.
Pretty much.
That's why you have Jughead texting on a landline. So we just can't change the story that much. What's the lamest superhero? We're on this topic, I guess.
Wow. The red bee from the 1940s. He had trained bees he kept in his belt. So. Yeah, pretty much.
Do not mess with the swarm. The red bee. That's a very good one. I was going to say something like Animal Man or somebody.
No, worst name from back then is a super speedster from the 1940s whose name was the Whizzer, which apparently meant something different back then. He wore a yellow costume.
I am the Whizzer. And Mighty Yearn is my name.
Got his powers from a transfusion of mongoose blood. Yeah, I'm not making this up.
I know you're not. The side character, the stories are the best because they're always ridiculous. And I guess it goes back to watering down everything.
Yeah.
Wayne, you yourself, you've created comic books, and you actually, with one of your great friends, Fred Wheaton, you created a comic book called Gray Legacy.
Yeah.
Right there, Gray Legacy.
This is a book that Fred and I met when we were both late teens, and both interested in comics, wanted to do it. We both wrote and drew and just started a friendship and a collaboration in terms of art. And my first year of grad school, I spent more time writing and drawing a comic than I did doing grad work. Somehow I got my degree anyway.
Yeah, they're like, Wayne, he's a partier. Now he's just
no, I'm sitting and drawing.
Why are the comic book girls always so well endowed? And
because for 65 of the last 70 years, the primary market has been 12-year-old boys.
Or 40-year-old men that
or
act like
40-year-old men who act like
boys.
40-year-old boys.
That
exactly.
makes sense.
No, and it is, and it's a controversy in the industry as well, and it's primarily true in the superhero stuff. I mean, those are idealized forms, and you can debate all day whether or not that portrayal of the female body is an idealized form or not. It's not true in all comics. There's tons and tons of independent books out there that show a variety of body types for men and women. It's not all this idealized superheroine kind of thing.
Yeah, even I could be a superhero in an independent comic.
That's true.
Skinny man with a loud mouth. Better than B-boy or whatever his name is.
The Red Bee.
The Red Bee. Well, being a comic book artist yourself, one of our students here, Brooke High School junior, Sarah Young, has a question about that.
Hi, Sarah.
How difficult is it to create a comic book, and would you suggest getting into the business for someone just starting out like me?
That's an interesting question because, these people are these kids are looking for a job to do. Would you suggest this as a job?
It's a tough job.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Comics are work intensive. You go into commercial art, you can get a significant amount of money for a single piece. A comic story is page after page after page after page. You really have to love doing it.
Yeah, and people don't realize how much work it
I
goes into
think that's part of it. Yeah.
And that's people don't see that. When you edit video, when you do any kind of art form, comic books or anything, people don't think about that at all.
Yeah,
it's
very work intensive.
A labor of love.
You have to love it.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to thank my guest today, who has been Wayne Wise of Pittsburgh's comic book headquarters, Phantom of the Attic, and you can learn more about Wayne or Phantom of the Attic by visiting.
Yeah, we're at 411 South Craig Street in Oakland, or you can call us at 412-621-1210. If you want to find out more about me and what I do, as well as comics I write, I have some ebooks available, some novels being published. I have a website. You can just Google my name, or it's wayne-wise.com if you want to remember that. So, thanks for having me on.
No problem. Google it up, Wayne Wise. And for Ohio Valley Tonight, this has been Nathan Marshall. Strangely enough, people think you read, or